Dear brothers and sisters, it's wonderful to be back here at the center. And as we all gather here today, I'd like to talk about the slogan for this year, Spiritually Rise in 2025. So when we talk about rising is not only in the physical arena. And as we start to understand that what gives us life is our soul, then how does the soul rise? And what is the meaning of rising of the soul? And where does the soul go when it rises? So when you start to dig deep into that question, and you go back in history and look at the lives of great saints and mystics who all talked about rising spiritually, who talked about experiencing realms beyond the physical, who talked about happiness and joy and peace and tranquility that they found, then you start to wonder, can we get there too? And so when we think about spiritually rise in 2025, I think one of the first things that we need to understand is that we all can rise spiritually. Now, how do we do that? The first step is to recognize the gift that God has given us. That is the gift of being in this human body. That God has given us all the faculties that are required by us to know ourselves and to know God. That each and every one of us has been given this gift, and each and every one of us is capable of being able to rise above what is called physical body consciousness, which means rise above what we can experience through our physical senses, to be able to experience more than what meets the eye, to be able to experience that which is spiritual, that which is ethereal. So the gift that we've been given, we need to put that into play. If you get a gift and if you put it in your closet and never look at it, never use it, you never benefit from it. So the gift that God has given us, the human existence, the first step is to use that gift, is to be able to make sure that the human existence, which has the capability of rising above physical body consciousness, that this capability is used by us. If we don't use it, it's just lying wasted, and our life will pass us by, and we won't gain from that gift. So, having the human existence is a great gift that God has given us. And how do we use that gift? We want to connect with the Creator. When we go into our scriptures, most of our scriptures are telling us that God, as creation came into being, that the divine light and sound of God, which are the two primary manifestations of God, are what brought all creation into existence. And so that power is the source, the connection through which we all find ourselves in this physical world. Now that power of light and sound is lying latent within each and every one of us. It's for us to connect with it. And so the connection with this power of light and sound happens as we meditate, as we take our attention away from the world outside and focus it within ourselves. Because this power is within ourselves. So it's like tuning into that power. Today, there's a lot of transmission. We live in an age where there's all kinds of information coming to us through TV channels, through the internet, through other means. And it's a question of us being able to home into the information that we want. Just like on a TV too, there are like so many channels out there, and they're all happening at the same time. So whatever we tune into is what we receive. Okay? So similarly, this power of God is always there. The TV channels might be there not all 24 hours a day, not all 365 days a year, but this power of God is there 365 days a year, 24 hours a day, it's always there. It's a question of can we tune into it. Just like you got a remote control to be able to go to a certain channel, to watch what program you want to watch. But all of those programs are happening concurrently. Similarly, the light and sound of God, the divine power is within us. We need to tune into it. And so all of us have been given the equipment to tune into that power. We all have what is called the single of the third eye, or the Shiv Netra, the Dasmadhar, which is between and behind the two eyebrows. So we need to make use of that equipment. The equipment is there, if you don't turn it on, you won't get anything. So we need to use that equipment. We need to be able to tune into this single or our spiritual eye. And as we have our sensory currents get there, which is how the tuning happens, then a whole world of pleasure and of joy and of happiness and of beauty and of love and of peace and tranquility opens up for us. And as this world opens up, we get happy. We are pulled into this world. We want to enjoy being in that arena more and more and more. And so it's for us to be able to get into that arena. And once we get into that arena and we find the happiness and joy there, then we want to partake of it more and more and more. Okay. And as we partake of it more and more and more, we find that on the inside we get calmer. On the inside we're not in turmoil. On the inside we get happy and joyous. And as we get to that state, then we realize that the more time we spend into that meditative practice, the more the inner horizons are opening up for us. And so it's a question of putting in the time, it's a question of being concentrated, it's a question of being spending time in that arena regularly. And as we do that, we find that our knowledge or our experience of the inner regions gets to be deeper and deeper and deeper. And as it gets more deeper, the state of our being is getting more closer and closer to the divine attributes of the Creator. Yeah. We get more loving, we get more caring, we are more resilient, we're more peaceful, and it's a state that makes us happy because we then are not perturbed by anything in this outer life. It's the changes in the world outside which perturb us, which take us away from being content. Or it's the desires of the world outside that make it difficult for us to focus on what truly we should be doing when we have this gift of human existence. And so as we start to go in that direction, what happens is that as we experience that state in which we feel we're getting closer and closer to the Creator, then some restlessness comes into our being because we want to get there. It's like if you have a goal, as you get closer and closer to the goal, you want to get there quickly, so you're going to put in more of an effort to get to your goals. And so, as we look at the writings of the great saints and mystics, we find that this tremendous amount of experiences, of the spiritual experiences that they're written in the words of the languages which were prevalent in their time, for them to make us understand how we might be feeling as we go on the spiritual journey. So I want to take a verse written by Sant Rajinder Singh Maharaj, which talks about the spiritual journey. He's talking from his own experiences, and which tells us what states we might be encountering as we go through the journey to be able to understand our connection more and more with the Creator. And so in this verse, Sant Rajinder Singh Ji Maharaj is saying, he says, Arshe Azim tak dile betab le gaya. He's talking about how he got to know more and more about God. And so he's saying, Arshe Azim tak dile betab le gaya, फिर उसके बाद शौक का सैलाब ले गया. And so when we translate this into English, it would be, my restless heart took me to the highest heaven. My restless heart took me to the highest heaven. Then the flood of my yearning carried me beyond. My restless heart took me to the highest heaven, and then the flood of my yearning carried me beyond. So Sant Rajinder Singh Ji Maharaj is talking about a restless heart. And so when the saints talk about a restless heart, they're talking about a desire to know God. When you have a desire to know God, then there's restlessness to be able to find out about God. Okay? So when there's a restlessness to find out about God, then we do take steps to be able to reach our goal. So the effort that we put in gets to be stronger and stronger. See, if there is no desire to know God, then why are we going to put in effort? So it's the desire in our heart which will make us put in an effort. And that desire is what brings in restlessness to the heart. So restlessness in the heart is good. Sometimes in the physical human body, sometimes you have a pain, but then you say this is like a sweet kind of pain. Let's say there's a pain in some part of your body, and someone massages you or something, and all of a sudden that pain doesn't feel that painful, it looks like it's a sweeter pain. So Sant Rajinder Singh Ji Maharaj is talking about the sweetness that comes from restlessness of the heart. Okay? Because there's a sweetness in knowing, okay, we are getting closer to God, we're getting closer to our goal. So that's why he's saying, my restless heart, which is like the desire to know God. It could be, restlessness could be, it's a sweet pain. And you want it to be there because you want the restlessness to be there to know God. So he said, my restless heart took me to the highest heaven. So he said, my restless heart made me get to where God is. Okay? And it's just like, there's all these demarcations on the spiritual journey, and these demarcations are different in different traditions. And we all talk about being in Sachkhand, and then there's some people who demarcated Sachkhand even. And they talk about Agam, Agochar, and the Anami. So they have these other dimensions. So then he's saying, then the flood of my yearning carried me beyond. He said, I got to this area, and then it got even deeper. Why? Because then there was this yearning in me. See, first there's this restless heart which gets us to very close to our goals, and then the yearning to be with the beloved, eternal beloved, the yearning to be with God, and he's saying the flood of yearning. So this is not a yearning that comes once, it's you're yearning and you're yearning and you're yearning and you're yearning. And he said the flood of yearning carried me beyond, it carried me to be one with God. And so the journey within, it's a journey of love. It's a journey where restlessness is there because we haven't reached the goal. And that restlessness is propelling us to be able to reach our goal quickly. And as we get close and close, then there's a yearning to be with our eternal beloved, for the soul to be with God. And so that yearning is then pulling us more and more where we have the merger of a soul in God. And many times, as we read the writings of the great saints and mystics, they talk about the spiritual journey. They talk about us sitting in meditation, us being able to focus within, us being able to cross the lights and the skies and the stars and the moon and the sun and get to the radiant or the ethereal form of the spiritual master. And then there's explanation about the the radiant form of the spiritual master is helping us pass from the physical to the astral, from the astral to the causal, from the causal to the supercausal, from there to Sachkhand. Okay, so that is what the restless in our heart is taking us to the radiant form of the spiritual master, and the spiritual master takes us there. And then it is there, the spiritual master has a soul merged in God. So that's like the final destination. So Sant Darshan Singh Ji Maharaj is talking about that the restlessness in the heart is what is going to make us sit to meditate. Say, hey, we need to find out more about ourselves. We need to find out more about our connection with God. We need to find out more about where we came from, where are we going to go. And that restlessness is going to have us sit and meditate. So when we meditate properly, then with time and practice, we'll get to the radiant or the ethereal form of spiritual master. And then there'll be another deeper dive in there where we cross all these other spiritual regions to find our merger in God. And then the yearning for God intensifies. It gets to be more and more and more. It's like the closer you get to your goal, the faster you become. If you're running a 100-meter race, and if you look at the speed of the people who are running, their speed is faster at the end than it's before. Because when they start out, you start out from steady state, okay? But you want to go faster and faster and faster to get to your goal. As soon as they go, they slow down. But the speed is the fastest because the yearning to get to your goal is the fastest. Because you want to get to your goal quickly, your goal is in sight. You want to get there, and so you want to get there quickly. And so that's what Sant Darshan Singh Ji Maharaj is talking about, and that is what rising spiritually is all about. We have a wonderful, wonderful year coming up. We pray that each and every one of us makes good use of the time that we have. All of us have a human body, so we've been very lucky that God has given us this gift. We want to make good use of it by being able to meditate. And as we meditate, as there's a desire in us to know God more and more and more, we'll be propelled to find the time in our busy schedules. We're all very busy, we're all very educated, we all have jobs or businesses to run, and we have many responsibilities to take care of all. But if the desire to know ourselves and to be with God is strong, then we will find the time in our day-to-day activities to meditate. And when we do that, then the guidance will always be there. The guidance is within us, the guidance is there to get us to our goals. And that guidance is going to propel us to the very goal for which we have been given this gift, which is to know ourselves truly and be one with God. And so let us meditate for a few minutes. There's nothing better than meditation to truly get closer and closer to our goals. Please sit as comfortably as you can. Close your eyes very gently, just like you close them when you go to sleep. Your eyeballs should be straight, focused 8 to 10 inches in front of you. And as you close your eyes, those of you who have been initiated in the mysteries of the beyond, please do your Simran. And those of you who are new here, please repeat any name of God that you feel comfortable with. This repetition of God's name should be done mentally and not out loud. I pray to God Almighty to help each and every one of us connect with the divine power within and to experience the divine light of God within ourselves. We'll be sitting for a few minutes, and may the grace of the three great masters, Hazur Baba Sawan Singh Ji Maharaj, Param Sant Kripal Singh Ji Maharaj, and the Alpur Sant Darshan Singh Ji Maharaj, be with each and every one of us, and may their grace open up the spiritual horizons for us. My best wishes are with you, and I'll be getting out of this meditative state in a few minutes.
Please leave off.